Hi everybody, this is Scott Dudley from Funnel Fella Radio, and today my special guest is Dee Acosta, and he's based in the greater Boston area. He's a trusted advisor to B2B marketers, a proven growth driver, and in his own words, like Batman, but for sales and marketing. Welcome to the show, Dee. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Hey, Scott. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I don't know if I'm your last podcast for the year or one of the last, but glad we were able to connect before 2020 ended.
Yeah, not quite the last, but you're definitely one of the last because it is, well, over here at least, it's the last day of the year. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. So let's start off by sort of going back to your background and how you got into sales and marketing in the beginning.
Yeah. So, there's a long story and a short story. I don't want to bore anyone, so I'll stick to the short story. I started off for actually an appointment setting company. So this was back in 2005, 2006. And I had a friend that worked at the appointment setting company. She reached out to me. She said, "Hey, this is an incredible career. The money's good. You should work here." And I ended up working there for 2 years. I then worked at Forrester, which was a great experience, really an opportunity to grow. This was during the Great Recession, so 2009. There wasn't a lot of opportunity for advancement. People were cutting their subscriptions. Aberdeen had an opportunity open up, went to Aberdeen. I've now been there for, 11 years. I've been there twice. Been a great experience. We were just acquired by Ziff Davis, so acquired by a big company. We're really excited about the future and what that means, and combining different communities, different data sets. But I've sold to different personas, selling to marketers, understanding marketers, getting into that marketer ecosystem, and showing empathy to people who have a tough job.
Yeah.
Is really my forte.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. All right. So maybe if we go into a little bit more detail about the two companies you work for currently, Aberdeen and Visualize ROI, and sort of what the target markets are for those and what you actually do for them.
Yeah. So that's a great question. So let me start with Aberdeen. So Aberdeen, we started off as an analyst firm, and you're going to think, oh gosh, another analyst firm. But what we do is much more than that. So we're known for our analysts, and they give us a great brand. They give us our readership over 2 million. But what we do specifically is help marketers, and whether that's product marketing, whether that's demand generation, whether that's strategic marketing, marketing operations, we've got a tool set that allows us to help marketers. Really what everyone's trying to do now is find that hint of demand, right? So that glimpse of demand, and then move that along the buyer's journey to an opportunity. And we not only have those communities I mentioned, we capture uniquely powerful intent through the ad network. We have the most comprehensive B2B contacts database in the industry. We were just acquired by Ziff Davis, which brings to us not only their reach, right, through their periodicals, through their publications, whether that's CNET or whether that's ZDNet, but additionally the Spiceworks community. So Spiceworks, they were kind of that IT dev community before these communities were a thing, right? So we kind of take for granted GitHub and stuff like that. Spiceworks was original. Yeah, and Spiceworks has a robust community. People they've met and married through Spiceworks. It's awesome.
Okay.
And that highly engaged community, not just double opt-ins, but community, social network, so to speak, is now part of Aberdeen's reach. And that's so exciting for lots of reasons. One is we do get to help buyers, right? Whether they're marketers, whether they're IT, whether they're security, make more substantial decisions, right? Be better at their jobs. But then additionally, from the marketing standpoint, we have these communities that we can leverage for, whether it be intent, whether it be insights, whether it be demand generation. We can make that leap. And that's really exciting. We were just acquired officially towards the end of last month, end of November 2020. But we're already seeing, opportunities pop up. So, the alignment between what we've been trying to do and what they're trying to do is really close. And that, let's also be candid, right? Events aren't coming back anytime soon.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Here we're dealing with issues with the virus. Overseas, Australia. For us to fly there, we have to be in quarantine 2 weeks. And I don't think. Look, your buyer, your CEO, your C-level executives is very strategic, right? And I don't see them saying, "Hey, I'm gonna, I'm in my late 50s. I'm gonna go to an event to hobnob." I don't see that happening anytime soon. So, that's pushed forward, Scott. Not only digital transformation,
Yeah.
but digital marketing, and companies now have to understand how important a company like Aberdeen is, right?
Okay.
It's augmenting internal and external capabilities. So yeah, it's been an exciting year. It's a stressful year. For us, the last day of the year is tomorrow.
Yeah.
But the future is very bright, and I think we all see that. Hopefully, that's the only thing that gets us through. But that's a little bit. Yes, about the other job. So I'm an advisor and a sales consultant to a company called Visualize ROI. Kind of an interesting story there. So value selling, right? ROI selling is a huge practice. SAP has been doing it for years. Think about, SAP 40 years ago. What was their story? Well, they had to go into a legacy manufacturer, Coca-Cola, Budweiser, whatever it might be, and say, hey,
Yep.
the way you've been doing things no longer works. We want you to do it a different way. They had to be able to show that ROI, because to do it a different way costs a huge capital investment, limitation. So SAP's been on it for years, but so have smaller companies, so have larger companies. And they provide a tool that allows all of that ROI, all that value selling to be visualized, to be controlled, to be scalable. And they've been doing excellent this year. I've helped introduce some deals, but really selling value. You can't say, hey, Scott, I'm gonna save you 50% and help you make 50% more money. You have to have a very complex value proposition for people to take that stuff seriously.
Yeah.
And yeah,
and they have to understand it. They have to understand it as well, so that I can actually see it. Yeah.
Exactly. And it has to go up, right? So, it's not just going to be, I'm a big fan of the challenge sale. It's going to go up from, the manager to the director to the VP to the C-level. The CFO's got to sign off on it. So that value has to be complex and has to be understandable for it to matter. So that's been really cool. And then, think about SAP. They've got thousands of sales reps running around. Someone gets the wrong data and the wrong value tool. So yeah, that's been very exciting. So, all told, it's very fortunate in my career, and especially these days, we look at, everything, right? Small business services. But both these two kind of give me a unique perspective into the marketer persona, the sales persona, and product marketing is a big part of that too, right? So yeah, that's my very long-winded description of what I do and who I work for. I've presented to many CEOs in Silicon Valley. I've had lunch and dinner with many C-level executives in Silicon Valley. Boston, we're not too shabby ourselves, but it's been a great career. From setting meetings, right? Cold calling to, being a strategic advisor and, a partner to some really amazing people. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Cool. Yeah, it certainly sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's been a good journey.
All right, sorry, go on.
More to come, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, so with that in mind, what would you say are the most important things that business owners need to focus on to communicate value and actually seal the deal?
Oh goodness. So it's tough, right? It's harder than ever. To get a lot of to portray value. The market's hyper competitive. We have buyers are bombarded with content and messaging. Um, what is important now, and what I'll stick to for the remainder of my career, is a couple of things. One is brand. So brand is incredibly important, especially for a young company. To make individuals familiar with your brand, trust that brand, feel comfortable with that brand, is huge. And that's going to change, right? From your young company to your selling to sub-billion companies, you're selling to the enterprises. That's going to change, but that's still incredibly important. And if you look at a company like Salesforce, how did their brand start? People felt good, felt comfortable with their technology. They had great technology too, and now they're selling to the enterprise. Why do buyers go to them? Well, their brand is trusted. So that's one. The second, and this is one that is overlooked, and candidly, it's overlooked because not a lot of companies have them, and that's differentiators. So if you were to ask every CEO of a unicorn startup, well, maybe not unicorn, but close to unicorn startup, what their differentiators were, you get answers that they would struggle, first of all, and then you would get answers that you would say, well, doesn't your competitor do that, right? So think about Box, oh, you do file saving, cloud file saving. Well, doesn't Amazon do that? Doesn't Dropbox do that? Don't this company do that?
Yeah.
To really understand your differentiators is so crucial to understanding your messaging. A lot of individuals say buyers, and look, buyers are important, but there comes an area, there comes a time when you have to understand, you could ask a million questions, and they're important. I'm not saying they're not important, but to understand what your buyers are trying to do, right? What that end goal is. So think about Box and Dropbox. They're trying to facilitate secure collaboration through the organization. They're trying to get people to share better, smarter ideas safely.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
That's the end of it. So focusing on your buyer, there's almost two buyers journeys, right? There's the covert and overt. The overt is, hey, they just want people to communicate better. The covert is, they're trying to be better at their job. They're trying to get a promotion. They're trying to stop a hack from happening again. You'll find those out very early, right? You'll find that out extremely early. That's easy. But understanding your differentiators, that's tough, right? Because competition is so fierce. And, brand is tough too. Who do you want to be? What do you want to be? Do you want to be too light? I've seen so many startups start with a flash and be really light and really attractive and great branding, and a sales team that's all got the same backgrounds, the same type of profile pics.
Yeah.
Well, when things get tough, what does that mean? Right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes in a brand, and it's challenging. It's hard. Understanding your buyer, at least for me, my product marketing friends will hate me for saying that it's not that difficult. What are they trying to do? What are they trying to understand? So that's it in a nutshell. That's what I would rank kind of 1A and 1B.
Yeah.
I'm sure people would disagree, but the other thing is, think about regulations now, everyone working from home, lack of events, as I mentioned, what's going to get individuals engaging with your company? Well, it's going to be brand, right? It's going to be brand. So, LinkedIn is more important. How much business does LinkedIn drive for organizations?
Yeah.
Billions. Well, why? Well, because it is that closed network. You need to enter a username and password, opt in, click, agree to terms of service. So yeah, I could go on and on, but that's in a nutshell.
Yeah, no worries. Makes sense. Cool. All right. So can you talk us through the 4-step process that Visualize ROI uses with its clients and sort of why it's so effective?
Yeah. So that's a great question. I don't know if I would say a 4-step process. There's lots of marketing material there. Why it's effective, it's easy to use. And we're seeing that, why are we on Zoom? It's easy to use. Why is it effective? The visualization, the ability to turn in a spreadsheet into robust visualizations, visual statements that are compelling is another reason. And then
Mm.
the other is scale, right? So, you're a sales manager, you're a value engineer, you're working on these models, you're trying to show credibility, you're getting in good data, whether it be primary data or survey data, trying to show, hey, we're going to help you save money, make money, lower risk, increase productivity, whatever that is, and then tie a dollar to it. A lot of work goes into that. And then that ability to scale that across sales teams is really important. So to control who has access to what, this team sells to CPG, this team sells to manufacturing. They have access to the data that's important to them. And then there is a factor to it that is the expertise at Visualize ROI. So they, there's a team of experts there, professionals who know ROI, right? Know how to create value statements, and they're able to pull that in. So a lot of our customers, they're getting right. They're working on value. They're getting close. Maybe they're 80% there. We're able to bridge that gap.
Okay.
And help them, show value, right? Get to that step.
Excellent. All right, so moving on to Aberdeen, please explain in sort of layman terms exactly what behavioural-based marketing and intent-targeted media are, and why they're so critical to maximise the results of a sales funnel.
Yeah. So, trying to think of the easiest way to kind of explain this. So,
Yep.
we talked about competition.
Yep.
We talked about how buyers are consuming now. So it's all digital. It's all absolutely digital. What we're able to do through Aberdeen is detect content consumption across the internet. And that's in a variety of ways. That can be through our community now, the Ziff Davis, or the Ziff Davis or Spiceworks community. Additionally, we capture intent through the programmatic ad network. So wherever there's an ad, we capture what's being consumed. And that creates a really powerful mix of first and third party data where we can determine who's consuming what and which of that consumption is real intent.
Right.
So that's really, really powerful. It's a mix right now. We're still integrating it, but first party, mix of first party and third party data is really the holy grail of intent and tracking buyer behavior. So we do that, and then we're able to intercept them either by providing you the tools to intercept them or by intercepting them on your behalf. So that includes demand generation, that includes and what we call our IABM platform. That includes raw intent data that we have. Really a variety of different ways to do that, but it's incredibly accurate. It's complex, but it gets back to what I was saying earlier. Everyone's trying to find that hint of demand. So, Tom, think about direct to consumer brands. You like hiking, right? And you're looking at shoes, right? Say, I might want some snowproof hiking shoes. What we have here, you take a glimpse. Well, that glimpse on your social media feed or you search for it is detected, and then catering to that glimpse, the buyer's journey starts. So you start seeing it on ads, you start seeing it on social platforms, the competitor pops up ads. It's the same thing. The only difference here is that at one of the stages, right, once that interaction has been detected enough, salesperson calls. And not just the intent and not just demand generation, there's a content aspect. So we are able to create content that converts using that analyst team that I mentioned. But it goes back to what I'm saying. There's so many ABM platforms right now, and ABM is kind of a misnomer because a lot of these ABM companies tell you, change your named account list every 6 months. You're like, is it really a named account if we're changing every 6 months? It's getting detecting that intent and then getting that brand in front of that intent and catering to the buyer's journey. So that's why ads, programmatic ads are a big part of the ABM strategy, because if I see Scott Dudley pop up, every time I go to yahoo.com, right? Every time I check the reviews, I'll be much more familiar with that brand and go through that stage of feeling more comfortable with it, etc.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Cool. So what are your favorite online tools and platforms you use to maximize productivity and get your work done?
Yeah. So LinkedIn, I mentioned. LinkedIn's a great tool. LinkedIn Navigator's on there.
Yeah.
Marketers and executives and even salespeople love to boast, right? They love to share. So that's been a great resource. Zoom In Info here in the States is really powerful. They have a lot of contact lists, so a lot of not necessarily direct dials, but emails, etc. What's really powerful though is it's 2 clicks and it exports.
Right.
Into the
Okay.
CRM. And then I'm a big fan of Drift. Drift's been a great tool. I'm an even bigger fan of Outreach sequences your outreach, right? So whether it's email, LinkedIn, phone call, and that is so important to sales, right? I it's 6:30 here. I'm not going to send someone an email now, but I'm dealing with 3 different time zones. I have, like I mentioned, I've done business in Australia, I've done business overseas, I've done business in South America. You need to be able to schedule those and be cognizant of when someone is going to be most likely to interact with content. So
yeah, exactly.
That's been a great tool. Yeah, and it provides you with a one-to-one. This individual opened this individual opened that. That's incredibly valuable. Like that's just such a great tool. Another tool that we don't use, but I looked at is Gong. So much of sales is saying the right thing at the right time.
Yep.
They operationalize that using AI and speech recognition. And they actually feed that, Scott, it's wild. They can feed that to marketing automation. But one of my favorite sales books is How to Say It by Jeffrey James. And it's all about how you say something, right? And I've kind of lived and died by that. I might sound smooth here, but I'm just a normal, I'm just a regular person, right? I started in sales. I was just out of college.
So
that's been a crucial book.
But are you more referring to the tone of the voice or the actual words that are coming out, or a combination of both?
So with Gong, it's both. With that book I mentioned, How to Say It, it's what to say.
Yeah.
What I've noticed though, Scott, is that your tone will follow. So tone is incredibly important, but your tone will follow the words that you say, right? So, I'm saying so and right? That'll set up a tone, but if you use a long word here, a short word here, that will kind of set up your tone as well. So emails a more conversational tone of those work better, but sales calls where you're using big words and kind of complex value propositions tend to work better. So yeah, I could go into that all in all. Eventually they'll create an AI, they'll create a Terminator that can do what we do in sales, but we're ways away. But yeah, it's awesome.
So what was that last one called? Gong, G-O-N-G, was it?
Yeah. So it's late here, but I'll send you an email with it. They're such a cool company.
Okay.
Scott, do you have experience with sales? Do you have a sales background a bit?
Not really, no, but I am at the moment reading a lot of sales and persuasion, negotiating books, but it's something that I am keen to get into. Yeah.
I'll send you. So the Challenger Sales, the best sales book I've ever read. It's all based on data. It's all empirical.
Okay.
It's not rah. It's how to do it.
Yeah.
How to Say It is really good. I'll send that. There's so many sales books, but so much of them are just cheerleading. It's just subjective advice giving. Scott, it's like, you could do it. You got to get with it. And I'm like, I know that. I got a number to hit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Way too general. Yeah.
Yeah. And, mental health and positivity are so important in sales, Scott. Like you reached out to me, like that takes confidence and it takes a positive outlook. imagine, you know how it is with sales. Imagine that times 1,000, right? 1,000 a week.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I'll share those with you. They're excellent. Challenger sales, fantastic. Like it's hard to read other sales books because they're so like just empirical, right? They're just not empirical. They're so like, this is what the guy thinks. And I'm like, yeah, I think that too. That's not helping me. Like,
Yeah.
help,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
I've noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, buying something, like every salesperson should go through the buying process. I don't care what it is, buy SaaS, buy a car. You're gonna have to buy a car eventually, I guess. Maybe not, who knows? But
Yeah.
that's a really good process to understanding what it's like. Because it is nerve-wracking being a buyer, especially for your company, right? B2B.
Mm.
Because at the end, a SaaS, average price of SaaS, I guess, is like 30K. I don't know what it is, but that's that's like the average price of a car. And then if you're telling your company to buy a car, imagine the car breaks down, right?
Doesn't make you look good. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's buying something is a really good process. So have you heard of Snowflake, the data warehouse company?
No.
So they just had like the largest IPO ever. Incredible success story. Look it up. A lot of the things that I shared, they've done right, but they have a great salesperson there, Abigail. And I remember when I first met her, she was still finding the ropes, but that their sales training there, that sales process, she's just a phenomenal salesperson. It's been, collaborative effort, a lot of hard work on her part, but what I'm sharing, how to say it, the challenger sale, that's all in there. The other thing I'll share is bringing, there's still, I could go on and on, bringing an executive in, bringing a hire, that does nothing. People like the team sale, bring the product expert, bring the demo guy, bring the guy that's helping the similar company, but bringing your boss in just to be the boss, that doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I could go on and on, man.
Yeah. All right.
Anything else? Any questions?
Sorry.
Anything else, man?
Yeah. So we've talked a bit about what you should be doing, and then looking at from the other side, what are some of the biggest mistakes that value practitioners make, and how can they avoid them?
So yeah, let's talk about value practitioners. Let's talk about marketers too. So value practitioners, a lot of them, it's an unforgiving job. You never get the credit. You do all the work, you never get the credit.
Yeah.
Very rarely get the credit. Value practitioners need to be bolder. They need to be aggressive, right, with what they are trying to bring to the business. So value tools, they need to share that and be confident in it and bring that to the organization. They do a lot of homework, and maybe it's the nature of the job, right? They're trying to share with someone who's maybe risk averse that, hey, this isn't a risk. So maybe it's part of the job, but they need to be aggressive, right? So if I'm a salesperson and I'm selling, 100K a year SaaS deal for 3 years, that's a big decision, right? Hey, sweetie, you want to say hi? Say hi. He's on the camera.
Hello. Hello.
Steve. There you are. My daughter just joined.
Yeah.
They need to be aggressive. They need to bring that to the business. And the good value engineers I've met have confidence. They go into that hard deal. They want to be in that deal. They want to bring it to the VP of sales, the CMO. They have to have confidence in what they do.
Yeah.
The bad ones, they kind of hide. I'm not saying they're bad ones, but the less successful ones, they kind of hide behind the scenes, and something changes, and then they go to another job. Marketers, it's much more simpler. Don't sign 3-year contracts. There's no reason to have opt-outs on year 2 and 3. There's no reason to sign 3-year contracts on any software.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. So just with an eye to the future, what are you curious about or researching right now regarding digital marketing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, with the acquisition, a lot of it is just kind of understanding that engagement against engagement against the buyer's journey. But right now, I'm just gonna be candid. The two things that I'm constantly looking at is, what is the state of the world, right? With coronavirus, um, with everyone working from home, with events being on hold, what is that state? And as things start to ease up, what will that look like? Will people want to forget quickly and party hard? Because that's going to affect my buyer's journey. That's going to affect where my buyers are working, what's a priority to them, where their budgets are going. Are budgets going up? Are budgets going down? That's incredibly important. So that's one thing I'm studying on and staying attentive to.
Yep.
The other is, and this might sound like I don't know, out of left field, is regulations, right? So everything we do is digital. The rules in North America, U.S. to Canada, very different. To Australia, very different. To Europe,
Yep.
very different. We'll probably eventually all get to the California model, which is closer to California, closer to Europe, GDPR, but makes a little more sense. So what does that mean for some of this intent that's captured?
I
How
see.
that is consumed online?
Yeah.
So
You're
that's
talking sort
something
of
I'm
privacy regulations. Is that sort of what you're getting at?
Yeah, it's privacy regulations, but it's privacy regulation at the heart of it, but the spider web that extends from that. How does that affect algorithms? How does that affect
Yeah.
LinkedIn traffic?
Yeah.
How does that affect an email, right? So if I was to email you out of the blue, and it's, look, right now, how, at least in the States, I'm not 100% sure how it works in Australia. It's the Wild West outside of California, and it's not fair to anybody. So it's going to change, right? In Canada, it's very restrictive right now. In Europe, they're kind of the old hat at this, because a lot of their attitudes go back to, even World War II, right? Why do you have my information, right? So, it's going to change, but it's exciting, right? Who knows what that means? It probably means a lot of these existing big closed networks like LinkedIn will get more powerful.
It'll create opportunities, that's for sure, in some areas.
Yeah. And then, the technology is always moving. Right now, I think we're kind of seeing this push to digital transformation. I look at really successful startups like Snowflake, and easy to use is really important. Cloud first is really important.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's such a fast moving space. Usually I have a new technology that I'm excited about or something like that. Right now, I just see what we have kind of getting better, and then I'm hesitant to call it AI, but really snazzy automation, right? So you dump in a spreadsheet and it's got Scott Dudley, S Dudley, Scott.Dudley, and it realizes those are the same three people and instantly takes care of that. There's a lot of stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, the regulation, big, the SDR, right, the inside sales rep, that meeting center is so hot right now. It's such a hot role. Why is it? Well, all the emails we send go to spam, or they go to the clutter box, right? The the other box. So you need someone to get in front. But I don't know, man. It's an exciting time for a lot of reasons. But yeah, it's that. I think that's what I'm most, looking forward to and most researching now.
Excellent. All right. So just to wrap up, where can people go to find out more about your services?
Yeah. So Visualize ROI has a great website. Right now, Aberdeen is officially integrated with Spiceworks Ziff Davis, but we're still doing those little things. I recommend going to Aberdeen.com. We actually have a research hub there that's really, really valuable. It's a bunch of complementary research in different formats that you're able to pull from. That's a great resource. Spiceworks Ziff Davis, they also have a website if you want to learn about some of these tools. But candidly, man, just go on LinkedIn, find me, connect with me, reach out to me. I'm happy to talk with anyone. You can tell here I'm verbose. I have a lot of opinions and a lot of connections when it comes to digital marketing and everything we've discussed, sales. It's funny, we always are, right, Scott? We're always like, man, I don't know, we don't feel accomplished enough. We're always trying to strive to get better. But when I think about, we're talking, I've done business with Australia multiple times, Europe, South America, of course, Canada. Like, that's kind of a big deal, right? Like, that's something to be proud of. So, reach out to me. If I don't know, I know someone that does, and I'm, very happy to get them in touch with it. But, Scott, I don't know, what are you excited about, man? Maybe I can throw some stuff your way.
I'm excited about SaaS, software as a service, and maybe looking to eventually start off some sort of career selling software. So that's sort of something that I'm looking at.
Awesome, man. Check out Yellowfin. They're fantastic. They're a really good BI company.
Well, Yellowfin.
Yes, they're awesome. They've got a great team.
Okay, will do. Cool. All right, so a bit of wrap up. Thanks for being on the show, Dee. Really appreciate your time. That was some awesome insights that you've shared with us.
Awesome, Scott. Nice meeting you. Have a great New Year's Eve, and hopefully 2021 will be a little bit more
normal. Yeah.
A little bit more friendly. Yeah.
Friendly and normal. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do. Take care. Yeah.
Thanks, Scott.
Bye.